Hey everyone, it's your girl Maddie here, aka Beaver Moss, and today I am talking to you about the Death King from the Florence-based Sickening. It's coming off Amputated Vein Records. Now, Sickening play a straight to the jugular, no bullshit, brutal death metal, and this is kind of a return for them as this is their first album in 9 years. It's anything but generic, so many unexpected twists and turns. There's a lot of riffing diversity here. Keeps the record engaging and interesting throughout its entirety. The performances have a ton of life injected with them. They are aggressive, they are nasty, and they are full of filth. On the seventh day, these barreling meat grinder like riffs tie themselves to these nasty sounding chaotic drum passages. Vocals possess this focused growl, leaning more towards that old school death metal approach than more of the Inhale-esque styling you might typically associate with brutal death metal. What you might notice for me that kind of elevates this above other records in this genre is just how fluid it feels. The riffs have this flex to them. It's almost acrobatic while still maintaining that rigid, percussive, smothering brutal death metal feel. If you're expecting this sort of color by numbers slam approach, that's not the record you're going to get here, my friends. Every riff feels so creative and inspired. There's a lot of composition going on here. On Drowning Bath, I love these groove-oriented, syncopated guitar passages with these alien tremolos spilling off in different directions like mutated tentacles. The vocals do follow the rhythmic nature of the guitars and the drums, yes, but they're not completely tied to them. In fact, the vocals seem to lead here with a lot of personality, really takes the tone of certain passages and amplifies them. It's really convincing and just really well performed. Dangling Legs carries this unrelenting bassy gallop that will decimate anything in its path. It's a monster of a riff, my god. This album simultaneously feels very directed and focused while also feeling completely chaotic and unhinged with riffs flying in every which way direction. Unlike a slaughtered pig, the vocals have this fearsome tone to them that makes me... Unlike a slaughtered pig, the vocals have this fearsome, sinister tone that reminds me kind of immolation at times, while also peeping in some squeals for good measure. They are on the record. Like any good brutal death metal record, this band plays really well with tempo changes, going from these mosh-ready, heavy slow sections to these onslaught, barreling fast parts, and transitions from each really well. It's so smooth and gradual. There are these really fun spiraling riffs that make me go all stink face and pop my shoulders too. It's so good. On Ropeless Jump Bridge, I love these flickering, chromatic, palm-muted riffs that feel like a constant machine gun fire. The drum fills here are really sweet, a lot of cool tom fills, interesting work on the cymbals, and of course, the double bass is disgusting. Where the eye can't see really demonstrates how this band elevates this record here with so much little detail. Take, for example, these honking little harmonics that end so many of the phrases on this song. The tone here is slimy, has some of that old school death metal sensibility to it while also really leaning into some of the suffocation-esque stylings. The band is really good on these chunkier, stompier sections on New Martyr, for example, with palm-muted guitars, snare-heavy drums, and gruesome, throaty vocal deliveries. It's absolutely hideous. Now, I said this record didn't rely on slam sections, but I didn't say they were opposed to them. And here we get this massive pit opening phrase that feels dangerous and just so well executed. Headboards on the Roll does this interesting thing where it'll kind of pan back and forth from these shiver-inducing laser-like tremolos to these more oscillating, obliquely rhythmic passages, and back and forth at seemingly random intervals. It creates this very interesting jerking sensation. I gotta say, this is a violent record, and I'm all here for it. The closing title track has some more atonal, dissonant playings with that really come in for some nice flavor. There are these big, thrashy, artillery-like riffs that really work here. This album earns its fucking heavy tag. There are moments here where it feels like a boulder is running straight through into a 15-foot thick piece of sheet metal. It's so loud and clanging and just sounds so punishing. This album is heavy as all shit, and if that's what you need in a record, that's what you're gonna get here. The riffs, they bludgeon, they crush, they slice, and are met with vocals and drums that are equally as vicious. There is no escaping this thing. If you have any interest in brutal death metal, if you dig those classic Dying Fetus or Suffocation records, then get on this. You can get on this right now. And hey, those are my thoughts. If you like what I do, like this video, hit the like button. It'd mean the world to me if you'd consider subscribing. Follow me on Twitter. Link to that is in the bio of this YouTube channel. Leave a comment. I love getting to engage with those. I'm caught up now. I have a Patreon now. Thank you to my patrons already. No pressure to give, but it would mean so much if that's a way you'd want to consider supporting the show. Keep it more sustainable. And hey, you right there, keep it metal. My name is Maddie, aka Beaver Mosh, and I'm signing off.